Alright, I don't know how the sound is here. I think I want to maintain the mic on the laptop. I'm thinking too, I want to show chat, so how do I do that? I've looked at window capture, and there's nothing. So then, supposed to be that pop out, I guess, you can pull off. The sound is good? Okay. I guess I'll try this. Oh, is that right? Okay, I think I got this. I'll just pull this tab. Okay, does ChatGPT still stay up? Alright. Okay, that stays up. I'm going to be using ChatGPT, but I want to put the chat up just for practice. And I guess I need to go right to like my stream and then pull a pop out. Okay, live. Asking ChatGPT. Alright, now I might look at back feed. I might be experiencing some back feed. I could turn maybe the volume down. Okay, want to go to it. Turn the volume down. Alright, and now I'm told there's a pop-out. I think it's pop-out chats. Okay. And then I'm just going to play with this. Okay, I see there's a pop-out chat. I'm going to just click out of the videos portion of it and just keep only pop-out. And then that's a screen onto itself. There it is. Okay. Alright. Yeah, that's an option. Okay, put it down. Yeah. Alright. That's the pop-out chat. Now I got ChatGPT that I could show. And I got questions for it. Oh, I also wanted to show well, I don't need to show a natural reader. Just have it available. Alright, this is a practice in arguing with ChatGPT. One of my first questions, because a lot of trolls gave me a hard time about, wait a second, what's going on with chat? Why is it only showing? I really gotta widen the... Okay, chat's gotta be a lot wider, apparently. I'll have to see how messages turn out. Okay. Oh, I got into the screen. No, that won't work. Well, okay, just oh, okay. I'm having difficulties now with the pop-out. Alright, so just now mess around with it, putting it over here. Okay, alright. Alright, that screen is in a different spot, and it's not really getting out of the way. Okay, then I want it out of the way. Okay, alright, ChatGPT is right there. There's also a video I wanted to actually show too. I think I'll start out with that video, because I think it's kind of amusing. Alright, we'll test the audio coming from the computer. Alright, so another window, and adjust. Alright, now I'll start playing it, and we'll see how the sound is. I gotta watch for that sound. I don't hear anything. It's not playing. It says it's unavailable. So I gotta reset the website. Okay, play again. Is it showing? Yeah. got to go through an advertisement. And since it's through the news, it's going to be a little slower. Okay, how does that sound?
Local 6, your breaking news and weather authority. This is Local 6 at 10.
New technology to protect law enforcement and you. The McCracken County Fiscal Court voted unanimously tonight to fund the addition of dash camera systems for the Sheriff's Department. One will be in.
So that's dash cam stuff. They bought it 6 months ago. Yeah, I just need to get things arranged. It's like my screen isn't, my computer screen isn't big enough. Okay, so I need to make that taller. Okay. All right. Things sound okay. All right. So yeah, Deputy Barrel. I forget his name for some reason. He's a forgetful name. He's in this. But yeah, this whole story is interesting.
Installed in every McCracken County patrol vehicle. Those dash cameras will record.
All right, that's not a part of it. Somebody just turned on. A cop just turned on their siren for just a short time.
Alongside body cameras the department already uses. Deputies say this new equipment is safer for everyone in the county.
Safer for everyone. And that's the thing with Deputy Weldon, he isn't even turning his body camera on until right before he arrests you.
Local 6's Jasmine Youngblood joins us now with our top stories. So Jasmine, was this an easy choice for the fiscal court to make?
Jen, Judge Executive Craig Clymer says not quite. There was a lot of back.
And Craig Clymer, he was on the voting board, so he was I think a voting member. They have meetings twice a month. And if I'm going to be spending some more time in Paducah, I'm going to try to get into one of those meetings and directly ask them what's going on with that $400,000 you guys voted on. They meet in courtroom D every twice a month. And Clymer is one of them, one of the judge executives. I think he's a judge executive. And he speaks in here, so I tried to meet these judge executives. Never met Clymer, but I see what he looks.
That's because the new system will cost taxpayers hundreds of thousands of dollars, but ultimately they decided a safer community is worth the price.
Yeah, I don't know. The cameras. I don't know if they make this community safer if these cops aren't going to be using. They're going to be turning off the audio and also pretty much not turning on or turning off the video and audio. I would ask, my prosecutor, what happened to the first 5 minutes of Deputy Weldon's body camera?
Picture is worth 1,000.
If they can't even get body cameras right, how are they going to get dash cams right? How much did the judge executives approve for the body cams? What's historically, how much did those cost?
1,000 words. It's a saying McCracken County Sergeant Ryan Burrow thinks he's outdated.
Oh, that's... Okay, I'm having difficulty getting into the the chat. It seems to have disappeared on me. There it is. Okay, it's in the upper right corner. Okay. Alright, it's just, man, there's a lot to juggle. Alright, so I shrunk that video, now it's back. Okay.
In the way society has progressed, it's almost more of a, if it's not on video, it didn't happen.
Document everything.
And it don't matter if it's on video with Burris. They even quote him in the wording. So everything he said they wrote down. Sergeant Burrow, if it's not on video, it didn't happen. Well, yeah, first you get it on video of the cops violating your rights, and then they still press forward with criminal charges against you. and leave it up to the prosecutor to decide where they stand on this. So I'm learning about Craig, my prosecutor, and he's running to be a judge. Apparently, he just put his hat in to take one of the open vacant judge positions. So we get a real good chance to get to learn a potentially future judge on what his perspective is, because you just don't fill. Apparently, you don't just fill a vacant judge position. You you have to vote him in a special election. So we're getting to I'm getting to know him, and I hope to help other potential voters get to know who he is as well.
Sheriff's office is now getting dash cams. That decision a unanimous win tonight.
All in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed, no.
Okay, so that's Clymer in the center. He's one of the voters. He voted for the cams.
That carries.
At the McCracken County Fiscal Court meeting, the department already uses body cameras.
We're all human, but sometimes things get embellished, or people take offense to things, feel slighted, whatever. And the body.
And look, listen to this guy. He's focusing on being offended. This is Mr. Offended. He's speaking his personal issues with the public. He's letting the public know that he gets offended easily by being quoted in this manner. He could choose anything to say about this situation, and he's talking about being offended and getting that on camera.
Body cam helps level that playing field.
Also,
Yeah, they. We'll see that the playing field is in the hands of the prosecutor and judge now. So we're bringing these offensive things that occurred between me and Ryan Burrow, to the courts, and then it's the judge and the prosecutor, and then eventually, I guess, if we can't, if the judge thinks that the matter of law issues are enough to carry into the jury, then the jury will decide. The jury will be the playing field. Cameras make everybody safe, right?
so outdated, says Judge Executive Craig Clymer, the old methods of policing.
You can't just anymore just arm a person with a gun and a badge and expect them to do the job with all the intricacies.
Burrow says.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like they're still operating like they're a person out there with a gun and a badge now with cameras running, and with Axon 3 cameras, I think the most updated body cam from Axon, they could still wait until the last minutes to turn on their cameras, and everybody else had a body cam where it was running without sound. They saw them driving up without sound, and then they activated the sound when they got out of their car. Why didn't that happen with Deputy Weldon? Why didn't he drive up to my car with no sound and then activate the sound as he's walking up to my car? Instead, his camera doesn't turn on until right before he arrests me. All right, why is his different from everybody else's? Where's that video that he has that where it's constantly recording? It wasn't given to me.
Video evidence will hold deputies accountable, and the public too.
You can see the person roll through that stop sign, or in a pursuit, you can see that individual taking actions, putting themselves or others in danger, and us trying to stop that from happening.
It's a price.
You didn't see me roll through any stop sign. You don't see parked cars roll through stop signs. And you didn't see me take any action to physically offend the cops. All right? He's talking and going to his previous remarks about everybody people being offended and recording that, and then that, even though we're defending each other, the cameras create a flat playing field for everybody. The cops still will act like they're just a person with a gun and a badge, with little knowledge. The cameras don't give them extra knowledge on the field, on the streets. They're still acting like the same old people, and it puts more pressure. It puts more we got to start putting more focus on the prosecutors and the judges, the people who are elected, because no cop is elected to their position. No person, the cops don't run against other cops for the position of being a police officer in an election. They're just appointed, so they're not held to as high as standards. So no matter what you put out there to document what they're doing, what's more important though is, you know, he said you could see the car roll through the stop sign, but what about hearing what's going on, what's being said? He's trying to put more emphasis on the importance of the video, and I took a poll a long time ago, and I could take it again. I'm sure the results would be the same. What's more important? Actually, can I make a poll in this? Nope. Live chats. Okay. What's more important? The audio or the video? What's more important?
Pricey investment at nearly 400,000 taxpayer dollars, but Clymer says it's money well spent.
It's going toward law enforcement and keeping them safe, so they're secure in their homes as they go about. Overall, it's a small price to pay.
In addition to safety, it provides another level of transparency, which Burrow says should help build a stronger relationship.
So it's the price you pay for justice, right? 400. You got to pay for justice, but even then, it's 6 months later, and where's that money? Where's that money going? I mean, within 6 months, I'm sure they were quick to start diverting that money as payments towards whatever operation is taking care of these dash cams. Did they at least get one dash cam in a car? They don't have to do them all at once. They can do them one at a time. Is it such that all four, possibly 5 cars that showed up to my arrest, they just happened to not have the dash cams at the time? How many cars do they have? All the other cars, are those cars didn't have dash cams? Which cars have dash cams right now? All right, I guess that's the question I would ask.
Between deputies and the community.
It helps to confirm that I'm doing what I need to do the way I need to do it. It keeps everybody honest.
No, it don't. I don't think so. Not with what we've seen on the body cam. Instead, it changes the cops' attention to asking, are you going to make me famous on YouTube? Are you going to make me famous? Are you going to make me TikTok famous? It's diverted the cops' attention to asking if they're going to be famous on a social media account. And it's honesty, it doesn't matter, because the Kentucky law prevents outsiders from even seeing their body cams. You have to be a local resident to see this $400,000 payment that's all in intra. It's an intra account, intra within the state, intrastate, not interstate, and it's difficult. I mean, I'm in a position where it seems like you have to be in a position where you got to be charged with a crime and go through the motions of a discovery process where you can actually get a good response and get that information. But you got to be the victim. What if I was laid up in the hospital after a severe beating from the cops and I couldn't speak or move? Maybe I'm in a vegetative state for months. How am I going to ask for the discovery evidence if that happens? All right, that's that's what's coming next is that they want to cripple you to prevent you from being able to get that evidence right away, so you can't take swift action. And the cops challenged my health, making me walk in 24-degree weather and at 3 a.m., waking me up to make me go for a 5-mile walk. They challenged my health. Weaker people may not do so well in those kind of conditions. Yeah, it's easy to ask. It's easy to vote for the money for the 400,000. I don't know if Clymer is. I'm sure he's voted in. So yeah, the cameras prevented me from.
The contract for the body camera system was also extended at today's meeting. Both the body and dash cam system contracts are with the company Axon. Jen?
Jasmine, thanks. Borough says the sheriff's office will also use dash cam recordings for training purposes. That'll give deputies a chance to see real-life scenarios play out and give them the ability to determine better approaches to different situations.
Better approaches? I don't think they're getting much training at all. What are they doing in this training? I'm asking for his training records. I have asked for their training records. They're not giving me training records. And I got to get back up to Paducah, I guess, to make daily visits to the courthouse. But it's a little cold up there, so I'm holding off. But as my trial gets closer and closer, I'll have to get back up there and start making my daily trips to the courthouse to ask, where's the evidence, where's the discipline records, where's the training records. That's right, you have to be arrested to get the best material to generate YouTube content. That's right. That's the best way, because if you try to ask as just an FOIA request, they're like, whatever, what's it of your business? What does it matter to you? What do you have a dog in this fight? So you have to actually be charged with the crime, and you have to be a defendant locked up in their system, where then you're put on a higher priority to get your own evidence. You don't just, and it's just like, if a cop stops at my car and gives me a hard time, flashing their lights in my eyes, and then they're off, taking off, going to harass somebody else. I mean, for me to ask a records request from their office it's likely to be denied. The cop has to charge me with something first, and then I'm putting a higher priority. The discovery request is a higher priority than the FOIA. I mean, that's just how the court system is working it. They want you locked up in the court system, and they're happy to help you out, help you defend yourself. It keeps their system active. Yeah, but they may not like it when everybody asks for their evidence, though, either. All training records. Yeah, I want all training records. That's for sure. From Sergeant Burrow, I don't see a problem with asking for all training records. Let's see, it could go off. I mean, how are they gonna, if they deny me evidence? I mean, case closed. I mean, we can't go any further if I can't see evidence. But with FOIA request, with the public records request, there's nothing there. The courthouse has nothing to lose. The courthouse has something to lose by denying me evidence as a defendant, but as just a public records request, they have nothing to lose. They have something to lose by denying me a discovery request. They have nothing to lose with public records requests. It's pretty simple. All right. So let's see. It shouldn't matter who. Does that show? What's all showing here? Okay. Now I got something over there? I have 2 chats up? Wait a second, that's weird. I got 2 chats up. Oh, I only want 1. You just close the dockable window. If you'd like to show it again, use the docks menu. I had 2 chats up. That's ridiculous. No wonder I got a little confused. Alright, whatever happened to a trespass warning? Yeah, they just want to arrest. I mean, I'm trying to show people that how bad these cops can get when you assert your rights. It's not my fault. I'm just, I'm acting in the same way I've been acting for years now, but it's just the cops get away with it with so many people, and then they come across me, and then suddenly I'm the outlier. I'm the person who's the big protester when it should be commonly practiced with everybody, but everybody seems to be just a little too lenient with the cops' behavior. So I'm the outlier because other people are too lenient with their civil rights. And maybe everybody should be required to carry this with them at all times. What are human rights? Okay, I just got this from some lady at the library. This is for kids. We are all born free and equal. This is what I want to read to the police. I try to keep this easy to grab in my car. Now it looks like it'll get beat up pretty easy, but I just go over this with the cops. We have a right to life. Don't discriminate. Okay. Let's see. No slavery. No torture. Like making me walk 5 miles back to my car in 20 degree weather at 3 a.m. You have no rights no matter where you go, no matter what state you're in. All right, this is Kentucky. This ain't Washington. No, we're in the United States, not North Korea. All right, they say this is Kentucky, not Washington. How about we're in the United States, not North Korea? I should have said that on the street, but man, these guys are just all twanging and slanging at me with all their jive and rhetoric. What about the property? The property rights of a church can be anywhere. I'm holding church right now. God bless the earth. All right, this is a church. Anywhere you go, you make a church. A church doesn't have to be just in the building. Like you could just set up a little tent. You could just circle some rocks around a ring. You could sit on the shoreline of an ocean and hold church. Church is tax-free. Church is in any park. Church is in any woods, any desert, any mountain. You can hold church anywhere. It doesn't have to be just in a certain spot. Your human rights are protected by law. No unfair detainment, like what I experienced. Very unfair detainment. The right to trial. Okay, look at that, how simple this little form is. Youth, and see it for kids, Youth for Human Rights. So it's about the youth learning in a very simple way. We're always innocent until proven guilty. So these cops, they were treating me like I was guilty, telling me that they've seen cops on TikTok. I don't know. They're tired of hearing me. They're telling me things to make me to belittle me, to belittle an innocent person. That's the cop's job, to belittle innocent people. The right to privacy. Yeah, where's the church's right to privacy? All right, let me ask ChatGPT that. Where's the church's? Let's see. Okay, I've got to bring it up. Let's see. Message ChatGPT. Does the church have a right to privacy? Let's see. It's got a big old answer here. Oh man, it's really rolling through. I don't even know if that's showing actually. I'm gonna make this smaller. Actually, just make it smaller. Okay, so we got all those words there, and see if I can copy and paste. All right, so I have natural reader account. There it is. Okay. All right, just play it. Just needs a second. Okay. Try again.
The question of whether the church has a right to privacy can be complex and may depend on various factors, including legal, cultural, and ethical considerations. In many countries, religious institutions are afforded certain legal protections, including the right to privacy in some contexts. For example, churches may have the right to keep internal matters confidential, such as discussions within the clergy or sensitive information about members of the congregation. Additionally, religious freedom laws in some jurisdictions protect the rights of religious organizations to practice their beliefs without undue interference or scrutiny. However, these rights are not absolute and may be subject to limitations, particularly when they come into conflict with other important societal values or legal principles. For instance, churches may be required to comply with certain reporting requirements, such as disclosing financial information or reporting suspected cases of abuse, to ensure accountability and safeguard the well-being of their members. Furthermore, the extent of privacy rights enjoyed by churches may vary depending on the specific legal framework and cultural norms of a given country or jurisdiction. In some cases, courts may need to balance the right to privacy of religious institutions with other competing interests, such as the public interest in transparency and accountability. Overall, while churches and other religious institutions may have a right to privacy in certain contexts, the scope of this right and its limitations can be subject to interpretation and may vary depending on the specific circumstances and legal framework involved.
Okay, I'm not seeing anything about churches having a right to kick me off the property in the name of privacy. I don't see that anywhere. That's ChatGPT giving that answer. Did they crawl the wrong space? Talk to it. Yeah, I know. I saw the McCracken. I saw that ChatGPT gives me the option to talk to it. Is that on my laptop too? Because I only have that on my app. Yeah, the app. Yeah, I could do it on the app. I just maybe play with that a little bit. I'll ask. Okay, I'll turn up the volume. So I got ChatGPT app on my tablet here. Volume's up while using the app. Do houses have a right to privacy, and are they able to trespass strangers off of their property? Oh, that's right. I can't read it though. Wait, you cucumber. You said that have a talkback without you having to copy and paste. Yeah, I copied and pasted, but I don't think it'll actually read it back. ChatGPT doesn't read back. Alright, I'd have to read what they say though. No, it doesn't read back. Houses themselves don't have rights, but property owners... See, look at that. Houses themselves don't have rights. See, it takes the person to make the right. The property owners have the right to privacy and can ask strangers to leave their property. Trespassing laws vary, but generally property owners can take action to protect their privacy and control access to their land. Yeah. All right, and I asked, well, I'll ask that question in I gotta find it. I took a snapshot of okay, yeah, it's in pictures. Oh, but I took it on that computer. Let me just make sure. Screenshot. Yeah, I took a screenshot of one of my questions. Okay, it's not in here then. It's over. Yeah, houses themselves don't have rights. I was just talking about houses. There's a difference between houses and churches for sure. Just in themselves. I was just asking specifically about houses there with that last question. Alright. Screenshots. Alright. And then I asked, yeah, what are good ways to prevent trespassing on private property? Okay. I wanted to ask that one. Let me delete. I expect the same answer to show up on my laptop. Hit the head. Yeah, it will talk to you. ChatGPT does not talk to you. I don't see anything related to that. I have to look later. What are your good ways? You can talk to ChatGPT, but what, can you select a voice on ChatGPT? I mean, I didn't see anything related to that. Does it? Okay, and then I could type in another question. Hit the arrow. Okay. Okay, what are good ways to prevent trespassing on private property? What are good ways to prevent trespassing on private property private? And I expect the same answer. Because this is... Yep, right there, okay. Okay, same question, same answer. Yep. And they number it too, even. Alright, and then I can go into natural voice.
Preventing trespassing on private property involves a combination of proactive measures and legal safeguards. Here are some effective ways to prevent trespassing. Clearly mark boundaries. Erect signs or fences clearly indicating the boundaries of your property. Post no trespassing signs in highly visible locations around the perimeter. Secure entrances. Install gates or barriers at entry points to control access. Lock gates when not in use and use sturdy locks to deter unauthorized entry. Lighting. Ensure that your property is well lit, especially at night. Motion-activated lights can be particularly effective in deterring trespassers. Surveillance cameras. Install surveillance cameras in strategic locations to monitor your property. Visible cameras can act as a deterrent, while hidden cameras can provide evidence in case of trespassing incidents. Alarm systems. Consider installing an alarm system that alerts you or authorities when unauthorized entry is detected. Alarm systems can include sensors on doors, windows, and other entry points. Regular maintenance. Keep your property well maintained to deter trespassers. Trim overgrown vegetation, maintain fences and gates, and remove any debris that could provide cover for intruders. Neighborhood watch. Establish or join a neighborhood watch program to keep an eye on each other's properties and report suspicious activity to authorities. Legal measures. Familiarize yourself with local trespassing laws and regulations. In some jurisdictions, posting signs and taking other preventive measures can strengthen legal protections against trespassers. Engage with community, build good relationships with your neighbors and community members. They can serve as additional eyes and ears, helping to deter trespassing and report suspicious activity. Security patrols or guards. Consider hiring security personnel to patrol your property, especially if it's large or located in a high-crime area. Educate and communicate. Clearly communicate to others the boundaries of your property and your expectations regarding access. Educate them about the importance of respecting private property rights. By implementing these measures and staying vigilant, you can significantly reduce the likelihood of trespassing on your private property.
Yeah, so that's a lot of things that the church did not do. A lot of things. And why? Maybe because they don't want to have that appearance of not being of being unwelcome. All right. Let's see. Oh yeah. Yeah, I got my initial money from when I was in the Air Force. I saved up and then invested in the stocks, and then pulled out before stocks tumbled in 2000. So okay, all right. So we can we agree that there's a difference between a private property and a business? Let's make that clear. Is there a difference? All right, let me just, I don't know, maybe we could put this over here. Is there a difference between, is there a difference between a house and a church? Yes. All right. So apparently it's a straight yes. It's not, oh, it depends. It's yes, okay? How about, does a judge know the difference between a house and a church? Okay, I'm looking for natural. Okay, I want to delete and play.
Yes, there are several differences between a house and a church, both in terms of their physical characteristics and their primary functions.
Oh, come on. I thought I was registered. It said that my account was registered. All right, so let me just take a minute here. I thought my account was registered. I actually paid a little bit for it. Is that the one? I'm pretty sure that I have an agreement.
Yes, there are several differences between a house and a church, both in terms of their physical characteristics and their primary functions. Purpose: a house is typically a residential dwelling intended for people to live in, while a church is a place of worship where religious ceremonies, rituals, and gatherings take place. Design and layout: houses are designed with features for living, such as bedrooms, bathrooms, kitchens, and living spaces, while churches are typically designed with features for religious worship, such as a sanctuary or nave, altar, pulpit, and pews or seating areas for congregants. Ownership and use: houses are privately owned by individuals or families who live in them, whereas churches are often owned by religious organizations or congregations and used for religious activities and services that are open to the public. Legal and tax status. Houses are subject to residential zoning regulations and property taxes, while churches may enjoy special tax exemptions and zoning privileges as religious institutions, depending on local laws and regulations. Community function. Houses primarily serve the needs of the individuals or families who live in them, while churches often serve as community centers where members of a religious community come together for worship, fellowship, education, and other activities. Symbolism and religious significance. Churches often have architectural and symbolic features that reflect their religious significance, such as crosses, steeples, stained glass windows, and religious iconography, whereas houses typically do not have such religious symbolism. While both houses and churches are physical structures used by people, they serve different purposes and functions within society.
Yeah, bicycle safety with a strap over the license plate is more important than officer safety, because my bicycle could fly off the back of my car if I hit a pothole the right way. So personal safety is police safety. It works together. Okay, so there's clearly a difference between a church and a house. All right, by the way they're designed, by the way they're zoned. Okay, all right, but somebody mentioned business. Okay, they're saying if you stand outside a business, you're trespassing. So maybe we could ask ChatGPT about their opinion about is there any difference between a business and a church? Yes, significant differences. What? Get out of here. Wow, they're really listing quite a few. All right, let's listen to this. There apparently are differences between businesses and churches. It's unbelievable. Why are we calling churches businesses if there's a significant difference?
Yes, there are significant differences between a business and a church, particularly in terms of their purpose, organizational structure, legal status, and societal role. Purpose. The primary purpose of a business is to generate profit by providing goods or services in exchange for money. On the other hand, a church is a religious institution whose primary purpose is to facilitate worship, religious ceremonies, and spiritual community among its members. Organizational structure. Businesses typically have hierarchical organizational structures with owners, managers, employees, and shareholders, and they operate under the principles of profit maximization and corporate governance. In contrast, churches may have hierarchical structures but are governed by religious doctrines, scriptures, and traditions rather than profit-driven goals. Legal status. Businesses are typically registered as legal entities, such as corporations, partnerships, or sole proprietorships, and they are subject to various business laws and regulations governing operations. Taxes, liability, and reporting requirements. Churches, as religious organizations, may have specific legal statuses depending on the jurisdiction, such as nonprofit corporations, charitable organizations, or religious associations. And they may benefit from tax exemptions and other legal privileges as religious institutions. Funding and financial management. Businesses generate revenue through sales, investments, or services rendered, and they aim to maximize profits for the benefit of owners or shareholders. Churches, on the other hand, rely on donations, tithes, and offerings from members of the congregation to support their operations and ministries. And they often prioritize the spiritual and social welfare of their community over financial profit. Societal role and function. Businesses play a critical role in the economy by creating jobs, producing goods and services, driving innovation, and contributing to economic growth and development. Churches play a different societal role by providing spiritual guidance, moral teachings, community support, charitable services, and a sense of belonging and fellowship to their members. While both businesses and churches are organized entities that serve specific purposes within society, their fundamental differences lie in their underlying missions, values, legal frameworks, and societal roles.
Okay, so it appears that there's a bit of a distinction between churches and businesses, yet still people want to call a church a business. That's interesting. Maybe I should ask ChatGPT, why do people insist that a church is a business? We got a long-winded answer here.
People may insist that a church is a business for several reasons, although it's important to recognize that this perspective is not universally held and may vary based on individual beliefs, experiences, and interpretations. Some of the reasons why people might argue that a church is akin to a business include financial practices. Some individuals may perceive churches as businesses due to their financial practices, such as collecting donations, managing budgets, paying staff salaries, and maintaining properties. Critics might argue that churches prioritize financial considerations over spiritual or charitable objectives.
Yeah, that's true.
Organizational structure. Certain churches may adopt hierarchical organizational structures similar to businesses, with leaders, staff, and administrative processes. This structure can lead some observers to equate churches with corporate entities. Commercial activities. In some cases, churches engage in commercial activities such as selling merchandise, renting out facilities, or operating businesses as part of their fundraising efforts. This commercial aspect may blur the lines between religious and business practices. Perceived lack of transparency. Critics may argue that some churches lack transparency in their financial dealings, governance, or decision-making processes, which can lead to comparisons with businesses that prioritize secrecy or proprietary interests. Megachurch phenomenon. The rise of megachurches, which often operate on a large scale with extensive resources and business-like strategies for growth and expansion, can contribute to the perception of churches as business enterprises. Legal and regulatory considerations. Churches, like businesses, are subject to certain legal and regulatory requirements related to taxation, reporting, employment, and property ownership. This legal framework can reinforce the perception of churches as entities with business-like characteristics. Cultural and societal shifts. In some societies, there has been a shift towards viewing religious institutions through a secular or commercial lens, influenced by broader trends such as consumerism, individualism, and skepticism towards traditional institutions. It's important to recognize that while there may be similarities between churches and businesses in certain aspects, they fundamentally differ in their core purposes, values, and societal roles. The perception of a church as a business is subjective and can be influenced by various factors, including personal beliefs, cultural context, and individual experiences.
Okay, let's see. Yeah, I could be ordained on a website, no problem. Just get that little white frock thing. Didn't Homer Simpson show how easy it was to become a priest? Let's see, where it writes that the Commonwealth must argue the circumstances itself communicated that entry was unlawful. I was seeking refuge at the church. Oh, but I had money. Well, that's money that has to go to $20 steaks. I gotta eat. I'd rather eat a nice $20 steak than have a bed bug ridden bed in a stuffy room full of whatever from previous people who have been in them rooms. God. Yeah, God said that the whatever that's, I don't know. God says that the pastor speaks with God, and God tells him that he needs nice new technology. All right, so let's see. Didn't somebody say something about business? Business. Yeah, I got Wi-Fi connection in the courtroom, so I have a feeling I'll be turning to ChatGPT for my trial for some things. Let's see. I asked about the what organizations are tax free? What buildings are tax exempt? There we go. So we got a bunch of tax exempt buildings. Not just churches are tax exempt, and there could be different levels of tax exemption. So we'll toss this into the natural reader.
In many countries, certain types of buildings or organizations may qualify for tax exemptions based on their purposes or activities. Tax exemption criteria can vary significantly depending on local laws and regulations. Here are some common types of buildings or organizations that may be eligible for tax exemption in various jurisdictions. Religious institutions, churches, mosques, temples, synagogues, and other places of worship are often eligible for tax-exempt status as religious organizations. This exemption is typically based on the principle of separating church and state and protecting freedom of religion. Nonprofit organizations, including charitable organizations, educational institutions, hospitals, and social welfare organizations, may qualify for tax-exempt status if they meet certain criteria related to their mission, activities, and revenue sources. These organizations are often exempt from income tax, property tax, and other taxes on their activities related to their charitable or educational purposes. Government buildings, government-owned buildings and properties, such as municipal buildings, public schools, libraries, and government offices, are generally exempt from property taxes since they are owned by the government and funded by taxpayer dollars. Educational institutions, public and nonprofit private schools, colleges, universities, and other educational institutions may qualify for tax-exempt status if they meet certain criteria, such as being accredited and primarily engaged in educational activities. Historical or cultural organizations. Buildings or organizations that are designated as historical landmarks or cultural institutions may qualify for tax exemptions or incentives aimed at preserving and promoting cultural heritage. Healthcare facilities, nonprofit hospitals, clinics, and healthcare facilities that provide medical services to the public may be eligible for tax-exempt status based on their nonprofit status and charitable activities. Agricultural and conservation land. Agricultural properties, conservation lands, and properties used for forestry or wildlife preservation may qualify for tax exemptions or special assessments based on their use for agricultural or conservation purposes. Veterans organizations, nonprofit veterans organizations, such as veterans halls or clubs, may be eligible for tax-exempt status if they meet certain criteria related to their mission and activities supporting veterans and their families. Cultural, recreational, and community centers. nonprofit cultural organizations, recreational facilities, and community centers that provide public services and promote the arts, culture, or community development may qualify for tax-exempt status. It's important to note that the specific criteria for tax exemption vary by jurisdiction, and organizations seeking tax-exempt status must comply with applicable laws, regulations, and reporting requirements. Additionally, tax exemptions may apply to certain types of taxes and may not exempt organizations from other taxes or fees.
All right, so the church is a part of a broad spectrum of tax-free institutions, and I mean there's certain requirements involved to become tax exempt. Some are partially tax exempt, like private schools. Let's see, yeah, candida I think is swelled up my guts, and then I've gotten a bulge, a physical bulge that's like, you know, when you get too obese and then you lose the weight but you still got that flab hanging off. I got that flab in my, that stretch in my stomach, expanse in my stomach that's weak. Ask the correct pronunciation of the word statute.
Statute. Statute.
Statuette. Statute.
Statute.
Statute. What about surplusage? Surplusage.
Surplusage.
Surplusage. Statute.
Surplusage.
Maybe somebody else can say it different. Oh my God, really? I'm not getting my account. Oh, I think I know. Okay. How about Anna?
Surplusage. Surplusage.
All right. Surplusage. Surplusage. I was calling it surplusage. Surplusage. And statute. All right. These Kentucky words are just, they're different. Not used to them. Let's see. Yeah, my problem is physical. For nutritional, I've noticed a big turnaround when I started eating more meat. Yeah. Yeah, I pronounce the surplusage in different ways. It's a weird word. All right, so let's see. Churches. What else can I ask GPT about churches? All right. I know there's exigent circumstances, like knocking on the door. Is it illegal to knock on the door of a business at 1 a.m.? Oops. Okay, ChatGPT's got a big ol' answer within seconds.
Whether it is illegal to knock on the door of a business at 1 a.m. depends on various factors, including local laws and regulations, the specific circumstances of the situation, and the policies of the business in question. Here are some considerations. Local laws and regulations. Many cities and municipalities have noise ordinances or local laws that regulate noise levels and disturbances during certain hours, including late at night. These laws may prohibit loud noises or disturbances that disrupt the peace and quiet of residential or commercial areas during nighttime hours. Business hours. Most businesses have specific operating hours during which they are open to the public and conduct business. If a business is closed or outside of its regular operating hours, it may be considered trespassing or a disturbance to attempt to gain entry or seek attention from the business owner or employees.
All right.
Reason for knocking. The legality of knocking on the door of a business at 1 a.m. may also depend on the reason for doing so. For example, emergency situations or urgent matters may justify contacting the business owner or employees outside of regular hours. However, if the purpose of knocking is not urgent or necessary, it may be considered inappropriate or potentially illegal, especially if it disturbs others or violates local ordinances. Business policies. Some businesses may have specific policies or procedures in place regarding after-hours visits or disturbances. For example, businesses may have security measures in place, such as alarm systems or security guards, to prevent unauthorized access or disturbances during non-operating hours. Safety considerations. Knocking on the door of a business late at night may also raise safety concerns for both the person knocking and the occupants of the business premises. Depending on the location and context, it may be perceived as suspicious behavior or a potential security threat. In summary, while it may not be explicitly illegal to knock on the door of a business at 1 a.m. in all situations, it can potentially violate noise ordinances, trespassing laws, or business policies. It's essential to consider the specific circumstances and local regulations before attempting to contact a business outside of its regular operating hours.
Yeah, so most people should know that there's, a reasonable time to knock on the door. There could be circumstances where you might want to see if there's anybody active inside. I've seen services held late at night. They don't hold services all in the morning time. Some are late at night. For churches, and this is only talking about businesses. How can a church lose its tax-exempt status? Yeah, what is the meaning of separation of church and state? Wow, that's a big answer. All right. I want to ask about separation of church and state next. Ask old wise ChatGPT.
A church or religious organization can potentially lose its tax-exempt status under certain circumstances. While the criteria for maintaining tax-exempt status can vary by jurisdiction, here are some common reasons why a church might lose its tax-exempt status. Engaging in political campaign activities. Churches are prohibited from directly or indirectly participating in political campaign activities or endorsing candidates for public office if they wish to maintain their tax-exempt status under Section 501 of the Internal Revenue Code. Engaging in such activities can lead to the revocation of tax-exempt status. Substantial non-exempt activities. If a church engages in substantial non-exempt activities unrelated to its tax-exempt purpose, it may jeopardize its tax-exempt status. For example, if a significant portion of the church's income is derived from activities that are not related to religious, educational, or charitable purposes, the IRS may consider revoking its tax-exempt status. Private inurement or benefit. Tax-exempt organizations, including churches, are prohibited from providing excessive benefits to individuals with a close relationship to the organization, such as insiders or key employees. If a church provides excessive compensation, perks, or other benefits to insiders, it may risk losing its tax-exempt status. Failure to file required forms. Churches and religious organizations are generally required to file certain annual information returns with the IRS, such as Form 990 or Form 990-EZ, depending on their size and financial activities. Failure to file these required forms for multiple consecutive years can result in the revocation of tax-exempt status. Violation of public policy. If a church violates public policy or engages in activities that are illegal or contrary to public interest, it may face consequences, including potential loss of tax-exempt status. This could include activities such as promoting hate speech, discrimination, or illegal activities. Change in organizational structure. Significant changes in a church's organizational structure or operations, such as converting to a for-profit entity or engaging in activities inconsistent with tax-exempt purposes, could lead to the loss of tax-exempt status. Lack of compliance with IRS requirements. Churches must comply with various IRS requirements and regulations to maintain their tax-exempt status, including record-keeping, reporting, and governance standards. Failure to comply with these requirements could result in penalties or revocation of tax-exempt status. It's important for churches and religious organizations to understand and comply with the rules and regulations governing tax-exempt status to avoid potential consequences. Additionally, consulting with legal and financial advisors knowledgeable about nonprofit tax law can help ensure compliance with applicable requirements.
So the church here, it's let's see, they're violation of public policy. I think that's interesting. Engages in activities that are illegal. So they got a high drug activity, I'm told, at that church, and I'm the guilty one. But this has been going on for at least 8 months when they found those needles before me, and the cops haven't seen anything else within them 8 months. They just got a little report, and they showed no evidence of the results of this report. It was just a cheap report with no names attached, and then they give me a hard time about it. A high drug activity would definitely cause the church to lose its tax status, especially when they're reporting it. And yeah, they just leave it at that. So consequences. They feel that consequences can be averted by giving a big police presence. But then, you know, that goes in contrast to balancing out their charitability, and on the other hand, too, I guess they have to balance, you know, if there's too much illegal activity, then they got to push back on their charitability. Preventing illegal behavior and promoting charitable behavior come into conflict with each other, and it could go back and forth. But I mean, within 7 years or whatever, since 2017, it doesn't sound like really much has been happening illegally that could cause the church to be compromised with their tax exempt status. At this church, specifically. Okay, the exemption. What is the separation of church and state? The separation of church and state avoidance. The exemption is based not on religion but on charitable Okay. And state avoidance. The exemption is based not on religion but charitable. That's the big one, being a charity. That separates the church from the state. The state can never be a charity. If a state becomes a charity, then they risk looking like a church. All right, what is separation of what does church and state mean? What does separation of church and state mean? What does the separation of church and state mean?
The phrase separation of church and state refers to the principle of keeping institutions of religion and government separate and independent from each other. While the exact phrase separation of church and state does not appear in the United States Constitution, the concept is derived from the First Amendment, which states, "Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof." This principle, known as the Establishment Clause, prohibits the government from establishing an official state religion or favoring one religion over others. It also protects the rights of individuals to freely exercise their religious beliefs without government interference. The separation of church and state has been interpreted by courts and scholars to mean that religious institutions are independent. Religious institutions are free to operate independently from government control or interference. They have the freedom to practice their beliefs, manage their affairs, and make decisions without government influence. Government neutrality toward religion. The government must remain neutral in matters of religion, refraining from endorsing, promoting, or favoring any particular religion or religious belief. This ensures that individuals of all religious beliefs are treated equally under the law. No religious tests for office. The government cannot impose religious tests or qualifications for holding public office. Individuals of any religious background are eligible to serve in government positions without discrimination based on their beliefs. Secular government institutions. Government institutions, including public schools, courthouses, and legislative bodies, must remain secular and refrain from promoting or endorsing religious beliefs or practices. This ensures that government activities and institutions are inclusive and respectful of diverse religious perspectives. The separation of church and state is intended to protect both religious freedom and government integrity. It allows individuals to practice their faith freely while preventing government interference in matters of religious belief and expression. This principle has been a foundational aspect of the American constitutional framework and has been upheld and interpreted by courts through various legal precedents. Message ChatGPT. ChatGPT can make mistakes. Consider checking important information.
Yeah. So that's kind of first time that ChatGPT has admitted the possibility that they could be making a mistake. All right. So there's a difference in what they say. A difference in church. A separate the government can't really influence the church, take over the matters of the church the way that they have by determining if I think the government has overreached their separation of church and state issues by becoming the private security for the church based on I guess the Terry stop stuff with the business, and it's late at night and you're window shopping in front of a business late at night, looking suspicious with your hands in your pockets. So I don't really have any other questions. I guess that was probably about it. The church questions. Let's see. Anything else? Church and state. Let's see. Suspicious behavior. Whoops, that's not what I want. All right, what is? I don't know. What would be suspicious? What would be suspicious behavior? Wait a second. Is it illegal to fall asleep at a church. All right, they're making some good points here. Maybe they're making some good points for my prosecutor.
In general, it is not illegal to fall asleep at a church. Churches are places of worship and community gathering where individuals may participate in religious services, events, or activities. It's not uncommon for people to feel comfortable and relaxed in such environments, leading to the possibility of falling asleep during a service or event. However, there could be specific circumstances where falling asleep in a church might lead to legal or social consequences, such as disruption of service. If someone snoring or other disruptive behavior while asleep in a church causes a disturbance during a religious service or event, they may be asked to leave by church staff or volunteers. Trespassing. If the church is closed to the public during certain hours and someone falls asleep inside without permission, they could be considered to be trespassing, depending on the circumstances and the church's policies. Safety concerns. Falling asleep in certain areas of a church, such as on narrow stairs or in an area where one could fall and injure themselves, might pose safety concerns. In such cases, church staff or volunteers may wake the individual for their safety. Social norms. While it's not illegal to fall asleep in a church, it may be seen as disrespectful or inappropriate in some social or cultural contexts, particularly during religious services or events where participation and engagement are expected. In summary, while it's generally not illegal to fall asleep at a church, individuals should be mindful of their surroundings and respectful of the church's rules and customs. If someone needs to rest or feels tired during a church event, it's often best to find a quiet and safe place to rest without disrupting others.
Okay, maybe we should establish with ChatGPT what does camping mean? All right, what does camping mean? What is the definition of camping? What is the definition of camping?
The definition of camping can vary slightly depending on context, but generally, camping refers to the activity of spending time outdoors, typically in a temporary shelter or tent, away from urban areas and often in natural settings such as forests, mountains, or near bodies of water. Here are some key aspects of camping. Outdoor accommodation. Camping involves staying in temporary accommodation such as tents, RVs, or camper vans, rather than traditional indoor lodging like hotels or cabins. Nature exploration. Camping often involves activities such as hiking, fishing, swimming, birdwatching, and other outdoor recreational pursuits. Campers usually seek to connect with nature and enjoy the natural environment. Self-sufficiency. Campers generally need to bring their own supplies and equipment for cooking, sleeping, and shelter, as well as necessities like food, water, and clothing. Depending on the type of camping, this can range from basic gear for backpacking to more luxurious amenities for RV camping. Disconnecting from urban life. Camping provides an opportunity to disconnect from the hustle and bustle of urban life, including technology and electronic devices, and enjoy a simpler, more natural lifestyle. Temporary stay. Camping is typically a temporary activity, ranging from a single night to several weeks, and involves setting up camp in one location for a period of time before moving on. Overall, camping is a popular recreational activity enjoyed by people of all ages as a way to escape the stresses of daily life, immerse themselves in nature, and enjoy outdoor adventures with friends and family.
All right, let me ask. Whoops, not that one. What are good reasons why a church would not answer the phone?
There could be several reasons why a church may not answer the phone at a particular time. Some of these reasons may include staff availability. If the church operates with limited staff or volunteers, particularly during non-service hours or holidays, there may not be someone available to answer the phone at all times. Service or event in progress. During church services, events, or meetings, staff and volunteers may be engaged in activities that require their full attention, making it difficult to answer the phone promptly. After hours or non-operating hours, churches may have specific operating hours during which they are available to answer phone calls. Outside of these hours, such as late evenings, early mornings, or weekends, the church office may be closed, and there may not be anyone available to answer the phone. Call volume. Churches, particularly larger congregations or those serving diverse community needs, may receive a high volume of phone calls, especially during peak times such as before or after services, events, or during holidays. In such cases, it may not be feasible to answer every call immediately. Staff responsibilities. Church staff and volunteers may have various responsibilities and tasks beyond answering the phone, such as administrative duties, pastoral care, event planning, or community outreach. They may not always be available to answer the phone immediately. Technology or equipment issues. Technical issues, such as phone system malfunctions, network problems, or equipment failures, could prevent the church from answering calls. Privacy and confidentiality. In some cases, particularly when dealing with sensitive or confidential matters, the church may prioritize privacy and confidentiality and choose not to answer the phone if staff or volunteers are unavailable to handle the call discreetly. Call screening or voicemail. Some churches may use call screening services or have a voicemail system in place to manage incoming calls, allowing them to prioritize urgent or important messages and respond to them in a timely manner. Overall, while a church may not always be able to answer the phone immediately, it's important for them to have systems in place to manage incoming calls effectively and provide assistance or information to callers as needed.
Yeah, you'd think a church should have some kind of communication system where they do interact with people as a part of their requirements for their tax exempt status. All right, ignoring everybody, keeping the door, skipping church services. I mean, those probably should come into conflict with their tax exempt status. If they just keep the doors locked all the time and don't hold services, don't answer messages, don't answer calls, then you got to start questioning their relevance. Why do I refuse to call the church? Um, I want to ask actually, is car camping illegal? Is car camping illegal on church property? Oh, I better not show this one. Whoops, I don't want that.
Whether car camping is illegal on church property depends on various factors, including local laws, zoning regulations, and the specific policies of the church in question. Here are some considerations. Zoning regulations. Many jurisdictions have zoning regulations that govern how land, including church property, can be used. These regulations may dictate whether camping, including car camping, is allowed on church property and under what conditions. Local ordinances. Local ordinances may prohibit or restrict camping on private property, including church property, for reasons related to public safety, sanitation, and land use. Church policies. Churches may have their own policies regarding the use of their property, including whether camping is allowed and under what circumstances. Some churches may permit camping for specific events or purposes, while others may prohibit it entirely. Liability concerns. Churches may consider liability issues when determining whether to allow camping on their property. They may be concerned about potential accidents, injuries, or other liabilities associated with camping activities. Community impact. Churches may also consider the impact of camping on their property on the surrounding community, including noise, traffic, and other potential disruptions. Safety and security. Churches may have concerns about the safety and security of individuals camping on their property, particularly if they are not equipped to provide adequate facilities, supervision, or emergency services. Permitting and approval. In some cases, churches may be required to obtain permits or approvals from local authorities to allow camping on their property, especially if it involves a large number of campers or extended stays. In summary, whether car camping is illegal on church property depends on a variety of factors, including local regulations, church policies, liability concerns, and community impact. Individuals or groups interested in camping on church property should inquire with the church leadership and local authorities to understand any applicable rules or requirements.
All right, so they're kind of tough. It looks like he's kind of tough on camping there with the local regulations. That could help this kind of goes back and forth a little bit. So with ChatGPT on the situation, liability issues, safety issues, they definitely have emergency coverage on that parking lot, especially when they're kicking people off. Let's see, church signage is a sign from God. Like how effective are signs? Do you can let's see, how can how do you sell a house without putting a for sale sign in your yard? Maybe something like that. So they're saying that you would hold an open house and showing, but a lot of times they put a sign in front of the house for that. The church to put a no trespassing sign. Yeah, clear it up with the church. They'll never they're not answering. Codes aren't laws. So when a courthouse when a courthouse auctions off a piece of property, they have courthouse auctions on the steps of the courthouse. They would maybe advertise in a certain section of the courthouse with a list of the property being sold, and then they try to make it available for the public to see for a certain amount of time. Like, this church can't just, have the cops kick me off their property like that, and then a few days later post the no trespassing signs and say, oh, we have these signs. They have to have the signs before the cops can come down and arrest me for being on their property. There's a sequential time issue there. And yeah, there's other ways to advertise without putting a sign on your property, but they don't look great. Mailing flyers out to people, putting an advertisement in a newspaper, starting a website. All right, they don't. This ChatGPT is not mentioning any social media. What is the best social media to advertise on? If the church wanted to put a no trespassing warning without using a sign, they would go to Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, Pinterest, which I barely use. I pretty much never. Snapchat, TikTok. No YouTube? You don't advertise on YouTube. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, Pinterest, Snapchat, TikTok. TikTok's up there. All right. Depending on your target audience. I don't know how what sign would make a trespassing charge a level 2. I don't know. Level 2's got a pretty clear definition to it. It doesn't. There'd have to be more of a. The sign would still make it a level 3. There's what the trespassing charge needs to be for me is a level 4. All right, they need to add a 4th one because there's no signage, right? Or wait, am I forgetting the law already? I think I need to. Let's see, the trespassing law, Kentucky. Am I a little screwed up here? 1, 2. Where's 3? Second. Trespassing law. That's guilty. Okay, maybe I just go into it. Is that showing? Okay. Okay, that's first degree, and I was thinking. Okay, we'll go second. Just type second degree. Let's see. Second degree is person guilty of in the second when he knowingly remains in a building. Okay, yeah, it wouldn't be second degree. It wouldn't. A sign wouldn't bump up my charge to second degree. It's barely even getting into the third degree. Third degree when no one remains on premises. Okay. Alright. There should be a 4th degree. Because that's more in line with what mine is. 4th degree. They're not recognizing. So, yeah, the degrees need to be maybe a little bit more like defined and spread out. Just like if you wanted to pull into the parking lot to turn around and suddenly a cop shows up, he caught you trespassing when you're just turning around. and it's just crazy that they got this. They got first, second, and third degrees, and there's probably room for another degree if they really wanted to push some kind of issue. Let's see. Yeah. Let's see. Fencing or enclosures. Yeah, there's just a open area. I didn't drive on any grass. It's paved. There were clear parking lines, so I parked in a parking space. I didn't take up any handicap spots. The cops couldn't get me for parking in a handicap space. Let's see. I don't know if I really have any other questions here. Let's see with the legal stuff. Do you let's see. Do you think it is it cruel and unusual punishment to make someone walk 5 miles in 20-degree weather at 3 a.m.? Oh, gotta scroll down. Yeah, we'll let ChatGPT decides.
Subjecting someone to walk 5 miles in 20-degree weather at 3 a.m. could potentially be considered cruel and unusual punishment, depending on the circumstances and context. Cruel and unusual punishment refers to punishment that is excessively harsh, disproportionate to the offense, or violates basic human rights and dignity. It is prohibited by the Eighth Amendment to the United States Constitution and by similar legal principles in other jurisdictions. Several factors would need to be considered to determine whether such treatment constitutes cruel and unusual punishment, including purpose. The intent behind subjecting someone to such conditions would be relevant. If it is done as a form of punishment, particularly if it is disproportionate to the offense committed, it could be considered cruel and unusual. Health and safety. Exposing someone to extreme weather conditions, such as 20-degree weather, especially during the night when temperatures are typically colder, could pose serious risks to their health and safety. This includes risks of hypothermia, frostbite, and other cold-related injuries. Duration and distance. The duration and distance of the walk would also be factors to consider. Walking 5 miles in freezing temperatures at 3 a.m. could be significantly more challenging and potentially dangerous compared to walking the same distance in milder conditions during the daytime. Individual circumstances. The individual's physical condition, age, health, and ability to endure such conditions would also be relevant factors. What may be tolerable for one person could be unduly harsh or dangerous for another. Purpose of the punishment. The punishment must have a legitimate penological purpose, such as rehabilitation or deterrence, rather than being solely intended to inflict unnecessary suffering. Overall, subjecting someone to walk 5 miles in 20-degree weather at 3 a.m. could potentially raise serious concerns about violating the prohibition against cruel and unusual punishment, particularly if it exposes the individual to significant risks to their health, safety, and well-being.
Yeah, I need to read this off to the judge. Let him know that this punishment is considered serious. even by ChatGPT, a web crawler that gets opinions from multiple sources. Let's see. How about rules in the courtroom? Let's see. Uh, let's see. Is it fair? Is it fair to not allow people to use their computers in the courtroom? All right. I don't know. I feel like I'm getting educated. Maybe it's not for other
The
people's
decision to
education.
allow or prohibit the use of computers in the courtroom is typically at the discretion of the presiding judge and may depend on various factors, including the specific rules and procedures of the court, the nature of the case, and considerations of fairness and due process. While some courts may allow the use of computers by individuals for specific purposes, others may restrict or prohibit their use altogether. Here are some considerations. Maintaining order and decorum. Courts have an interest in maintaining order and decorum during proceedings to ensure fairness, respect for the judicial process, and the efficient administration of justice. Allowing unlimited use of computers in the courtroom could potentially disrupt proceedings, distract participants, or interfere with the conduct of the case. Protecting confidential information. Courts may have concerns about the security and confidentiality of sensitive information if individuals are allowed to use computers in the courtroom. This includes protecting the privacy of parties, witnesses, jurors, and sensitive case-related information. Preventing unauthorized communication. Allowing individuals to use computers in the courtroom could raise concerns about the potential for unauthorized communication, such as sharing information about the case via email, social media, or other digital platforms, which could undermine the integrity of the proceedings. Ensuring fairness and due process. Courts have a duty to ensure fairness and due process for all parties involved in a case. Allowing the use of computers in the courtroom could potentially create disparities in access to information or resources among different parties, which could impact the fairness of the proceedings. Balancing rights and restrictions. While courts may impose restrictions on the use of computers in the courtroom to maintain order and protect the integrity of the proceedings, they must also balance these restrictions with the rights of individuals to access information, prepare their cases, and participate effectively in the legal process. Ultimately, whether it is fair to not allow people to use their computers in the courtroom depends on the specific circumstances of the case, the reasons for the prohibition, and the extent to which the restriction is necessary to achieve legitimate judicial objectives while safeguarding the rights of all parties involved.
Yeah, so they say, let's see, maintaining order. If the computer is beeping a lot, in some ways that could cause issues. Of course, that's disruption. Um, that's what I was thinking mostly. The beeping, the ringing from the phones would cause problems. Maybe the clicking of the keyboard could be distracting. But besides that, I mean, judge has to fall back on being reasonable about their decisions. And just making this blanket prohibition, especially with only the rules: no drinking and no computer, no turn off your cell phones. That's it. And then you go in and I start getting scolded about using my tablet. Maintaining the order. Yeah, I don't. It's about, as far as I understand, it's about distraction, unauthorized communication. Yeah, if you're talking while the judge is talking, then that's unauthorized communication to me. But ensuring the fairness and due process, that's important. And my due process, and that's what I was saying. That's what I want to bring up on February 8th, is that my due process was violated because I couldn't read my notes right before I had to go up before the judge. Ensuring fairness and due process. Courts have a duty to ensure fairness. And I got told twice that I couldn't use my tablet. So it's really balancing rights and restrictions. There is no balance. There was no balance on that day, on January 11th. There was no balance, and I'm angry about that. It's a due process, 14th Amendment rights. I want to bring up on record. Just as a part of this process. Just because I mean that just gives the prosecutor more power when they take my ability to defend myself away like that. It's just through simple communication, and that's what the case is all about, is communication, communicating your side. They communicate their side, and my communicate the side of my communication was completely disrupted, and that's extremely frustrating. And I mean I want a remedy for this. I want justice. You could have, should have, would have. Let's see. What else? What? Let's see. Blame the victim. What kind of people blame the victim? Okay, let's see. We got a whole list of these type of people.
Blaming the victim is a complex phenomenon that can occur in various contexts and can involve individuals from different backgrounds and beliefs. People who blame the victim may exhibit certain characteristics or hold specific beliefs, including attribution of responsibility. Individuals who blame the victim may believe that the victim is responsible for the harm or injustice they experienced. They may attribute fault to the victim's behavior, choices, actions, or characteristics, rather than placing responsibility on the perpetrator or the circumstances of the situation. Judgmental attitudes. People who blame the victim may hold judgmental attitudes towards individuals who have experienced harm or adversity. They may make negative assumptions or stereotypes about the victim's character, lifestyle, or circumstances, which influence their perception of the situation. Cultural and social norms. Cultural and social norms can influence attitudes towards victims and perpetuate victim-blaming beliefs. In some cultures or communities, there may be implicit or explicit norms that place responsibility on individuals to avoid victimization or to behave in certain ways to prevent harm. Stereotypes and prejudices. Victim-blaming attitudes can be reinforced by stereotypes and prejudices related to factors such as gender, race, ethnicity, sexual orientation, socioeconomic status, or disability. Individuals may blame the victim based on biased assumptions or beliefs about these factors. Belief in just world theory. Some people adhere to the belief in a just world, which posits that individuals get what they deserve and that the world is fundamentally fair. In this worldview, victim blaming may serve as a way to rationalize or justify unfair or unjust outcomes. Minimization of harm. Individuals who blame the victim may minimize the harm or severity of the situation in order to avoid discomfort or cognitive dissonance. They may downplay the impact of the victimization or deny the existence of systemic issues that contribute to victimization. Lack of empathy or understanding. Lack of empathy or understanding towards the victim's experiences and perspectives can also contribute to victim-blaming attitudes. Individuals may struggle to empathize with the victim or comprehend the complexities of the situation, leading them to assign blame. It's important to recognize that victim-blaming attitudes can be harmful and perpetuate cycles of injustice and harm. Challenging victim-blaming beliefs and promoting empathy, understanding, and accountability can help create a culture of support and empowerment for survivors of harm and adversity.
Yeah, I'm thinking victim blamers are pretty evil people. All right, ChatGPT is explaining how they can be evil in so many different ways. So, I mean, I asked what kind of people are these people, and he's describing evil people. So, I mean, there's no good that comes out of victim blaming, as far as ChatGPT believes. So, oh, okay. There's no victim here. Yeah, this voice is Davis with the natural readers. You hear other people use his voice quite a bit. Victim blaming. Let's see. Yeah, I guess I really don't have anything else to ask. Things I want to complain about. I don't believe I can. I don't know if I can form into questions here. For February 9th, court Zoom. Bailiff. How can I get a trespassing order lifted? How can I get my trespassing order, removed? Does that make any sense? Oh, I just lost the internet. Am I still... I don't even know if I'm still on. I got kicked off by the library. Let's see if that question goes through. I'll just look at the question. Oh, jeez. Regenerates. Okay. Understand the terms. Request a review. Let me just testing. So I want to get a trespassing order lifted.
To get a trespassing order removed, you typically need to follow specific steps and procedures, which may vary depending on the jurisdiction and the circumstances surrounding the trespassing order. Here are some general steps you can take. Understand the terms of the trespassing order. Review the trespassing order to understand its terms, including the duration of the order, the reasons for its issuance, and any conditions or restrictions imposed. Contact the issuing authority. Determine who issued the trespassing order, whether it was law enforcement, a property owner, or another authorized entity. Contact the issuing authority to inquire about the process for requesting the removal of the trespassing order. Demonstrate compliance or mitigation. If the trespassing order was issued due to a specific incident or violation, demonstrate that you have complied with any conditions or penalties associated with the order. If applicable, Provide evidence of mitigating circumstances or steps taken to address the underlying issues. Seek legal advice. Consider consulting with a lawyer or legal advisor who can provide guidance on your specific situation and the applicable laws and procedures for challenging or appealing a trespassing order. They can help you understand your rights and options for resolving the matter. Negotiate with the issuing authority. If appropriate, attempt to negotiate with the issuing authority to reach a resolution. This may involve discussing the reasons for the trespassing order, addressing any concerns or grievances, and proposing a mutually agreeable solution. Request a review or appeal. In some cases, you may have the option to request a review or appeal of the trespassing order through a formal process. Follow the procedures outlined by the issuing authority for initiating a review or appeal, which may involve submitting written documentation, attending a hearing, or presenting your case to a review panel. Comply with legal requirements. Ensure that you comply with any legal requirements or conditions associated with the removal of the trespassing order, such as paying fines or restitution, completing community service, or attending counseling or rehabilitation programs if applicable. Document communications and progress. Keep records of any communications, correspondence, or progress made in resolving the trespassing order. This includes documenting conversations, emails, letters, and any steps taken to address the situation. Follow up regularly. Stay proactive and follow up regularly with the issuing authority to inquire about the status of your request for removal of the trespassing order. Be persistent and respectful in your communications, and continue to seek clarification or guidance as needed. It's important to approach the process of getting a trespassing order removed with patience, diligence, and cooperation. Depending on the circumstances, resolving a trespassing order may take time and effort, but following the appropriate steps can help facilitate a positive outcome.
Yeah, so that's makes me remember the trespass I got in Minnesota. That was the IBM Park. They just gave me a 1-year ban from that area. They didn't have to take me to jail and process me and then make me have to stand before a judge. The Minnesota has it a little bit more streamlined. It seems like northern states have their legal process more streamlined than southern states. Instead, now I'm going to see the judge for a second time, and there will probably be a third and fourth time as well over this issue. While compared to Minnesota, it's just they gave me a sheet of paper saying that I'm banned for a year, and that's it. It's quite a difference in process, a difference in the time it takes for the government to process it. All right. Let's see. Okay, so who is a victim? Who is the the real victim of a trespassing crime?
In the context of a trespassing crime, the term victim typically refers to the individual or entity whose property rights have been violated by the trespasser. Therefore, the real victim of a trespassing crime is generally the property owner or lawful occupant of the property where the trespass occurred. Trespassing involves unlawfully entering or remaining on someone else's property without permission or legal authority. It can include various actions, such as entering onto land, buildings, or structures without authorization, disregarding posted signs or warnings, or refusing to leave when asked by the property owner or authorized person. The property owner or lawful occupant may experience several negative consequences as a result of trespassing, including invasion of privacy. Trespassing can infringe upon the property owner's right to privacy and security by allowing unauthorized individuals to access their property without consent. Property damage or theft. Trespassers may cause damage to the property or steal belongings, resulting in financial loss or inconvenience for the property owner. Disruption of peace and quiet. Trespassing can disrupt the peace and quiet of the property, causing disturbance or annoyance to the property owner or occupants. Safety concerns. Trespassing can raise safety concerns for the property owner and occupants, particularly if the trespasser poses a threat or engages in criminal behavior. Legal and liability issues. Property owners may face legal and liability issues related to trespassing incidents, including potential lawsuits, property disputes, or claims for damages. While the property owner or lawful occupant is typically considered the victim of a trespassing crime, it's important to recognize that individuals who trespass may also face consequences, such as legal penalties or civil liabilities, depending on the circumstances of the trespass and applicable laws. Additionally, trespassing incidents can vary in severity, and the impact on the victim may differ based on factors such as the nature of the property, the intent of the trespasser, and any resulting harm or damages.
All right. Trespass. Let's see. All right. Yeah, the church is a high drug activity area. Yeah, there's no paperwork that was made out as an agreement. There's no written agreement between the church and the sheriff. Okay, let's see. Are speed limit signs, like, how could what are other ways to communicate speed limits without using a sign? Yeah. So there's several without using these. Painted symbols, digital speed display, textures in the pavement. Some kind of speed feedback. GPS-based speed limits alerts. That's what I'm using pretty much. GPS. See, if my GPS could tell me I'm on private property, if I'd have a little alert saying, you know, my GPS, my Garmin GPS tells me when I'm going the wrong way on a one-way street, but sometimes it gets it wrong with that too. But that would be interesting. I'm using Natural Reader. Simply leave would be a, yeah. They didn't let me just leave. They didn't say get out of here. They started demanding all this paperwork, turning it into a traffic stop on a parked car. They were trying to perform a traffic stop on a parked car, and they hung me up on that. Like I kept asking them, what's my traffic infraction? And they wouldn't explain themselves. They kept doubling down on just demanding paperwork. And then we just went back and forth until they arrested me. So, all right. So yeah, that's I guess that's all I can really think of for this business. I should probably want to eat something. So let's see. Jail time. Yeah, I gotta pay, looking at a fine. How about like uh, what reasons would a prosecutor have for raising a fine from $25 to $250? Just simple court discretion.
There could be several reasons why a prosecutor may seek to raise a fine from $25 to $250, depending on the circumstances of the case and the applicable laws or regulations. Some possible reasons include seriousness of the offense. If the offense in question is considered more serious or egregious, the prosecutor may seek a higher fine as a means of reflecting the severity of the offense and deterring future violations. For example, if the offense involves endangering public safety, causing harm to others, or repeated violations, a higher fine may be warranted. Statutory minimum or maximum fine. The prosecutor may be seeking to impose a fine that falls within the statutory minimum or maximum fine allowed for the offense under applicable laws or regulations. If the original fine of $25 is below the statutory minimum, or if there is a provision for higher fines in certain circumstances, the prosecutor may seek to raise the fine to comply with legal requirements. Deterrence and public safety. Increasing the fine to $250 may be seen as a more effective deterrent to future violations and promote public safety by encouraging compliance with laws and regulations. A higher fine may send a stronger message to offenders and others in the community about the seriousness of the offense. Restitution or compensation. The higher fine may include provisions for restitution or compensation to victims or affected parties, such as covering damages, losses, or expenses resulting from the offense. This could be particularly relevant in cases involving property damage, financial harm, or personal injury. Plea bargaining or negotiations. The prosecutor may have engaged in plea bargaining or negotiations with the defendant or their legal representative, resulting in an agreement to raise the fine to $250 as part of a negotiated settlement or plea deal. This could be a compromise reached between the parties to resolve the case without going to trial. Precedent or case law. The decision to seek a higher fine may be influenced by precedent or case law, where similar cases or legal precedents have established higher fines for comparable offenses or circumstances. Prosecutors may seek consistency in sentencing or fines based on established legal principles. Court discretion. Ultimately, the decision to raise the fine from $25 to $250 may be subject to the discretion of the court, which considers various factors, including the nature of the offense, the defendant's history, mitigating or aggravating factors, and the interests of justice. Overall, the prosecutor's decision to seek a higher fine is typically based on considerations of fairness, proportionality, deterrence, legal requirements, and the specific circumstances of the case.
Yeah, so if they raise it, they probably won't explain why, but I mean, me putting up a resistance to their charge and their offer might lead them to asking for more money, and they have discretion, and and they likely won't explain why they have raised it, so it leaves me up to guess why. And I see there's several reasons. They might say, oh, it's because of your history, your YouTube, mitigating, aggravating factors. I don't know. There's a lot of different reasons there. See, the locals don't want drifters. So drifters. All right. So yeah, the drifter is the drifter. Is the drifter a bad person? Is the drifter a bad person? Yeah, it's too broad. Blanket, yeah, you can't make blanket judgments about drifters. Specific context. I don't have specific context. Is it is it dangerous to travel in America? Yeah, I don't know about that one. Uh, hmm. Yeah, I can't really think of any other questions. While I'm online right here, let's see. Toll lawyers, charging documents, discipline records. Let's see. Maybe. Oh, I'm offline. Well, that's okay. I'll have to get online. Let's see. How about should the should police policies be hidden from the public? Yeah, it's a bit. Confidential, ongoing. Well, what kind of sensitive information in police policies need to be protected? Kind of Disciplinary and personnel records should be protected. Yeah, I don't know about that. All right. All right. Yeah, I think I'm going to stop this then. I'm going to go get something to eat. All right, that's it. I'm done.